a major turning point has emerged in the nation's legal and political landscape as a federal court delivers a monumental ruling favoring the former U.S. president in a case that has dominated headlines for months. This decision is being hailed as one of the most significant legal victories in recent political memory, reshaping narratives that have long been used to define the ongoing controversies surrounding the former leader. The court's detailed opinion questioned the foundation of the charges and pointed toward procedural errors and weak evidence, raising doubts about the integrity of the entire case. Legal analysts are calling it a landmark moment, emphasizing that the judgment reinforces the principle that no one should be prosecuted on political motivations or under public pressure. Across the country, supporters have described the ruling as a validation of truth and fairness, while critics struggle to comprehend how their long-predicted defeat transformed into a decisive triumph. The ripple effect of this verdict has already begun to influence public perception, reigniting debates over media bias and judicial independence. It signals a shift in momentum, not only in the courtroom, but in the broader fight for control of the national narrative. The decision also places new pressure on the opposition, forcing them to reconsider strategies that relied heavily on legal attacks as political tools. With this ruling, the former president regains not just a legal advantage, but renewed political strength, creating an atmosphere of uncertainty and anticipation for what may come next. The recent federal court decision has completely upended the political narrative that has been carefully constructed over months of media coverage and partisan debate. What was once framed as an airtight case now appears riddled with inconsistencies, weak assumptions, and procedural oversights. The ruling lays bare the flaws in the prosecution's arguments, exposing a pattern of selective interpretation of evidence and an over-reliance on public opinion rather than factual accuracy. Legal experts analyzing the court documents have pointed out that the case relied heavily on circumstantial claims that fail to meet the burden of proof required at the federal level. This has raised questions not only about the intentions behind the prosecution, but also about the broader political motives that fueled the narrative in the first place. The judgment highlights how political agendas can infiltrate the justice system, shaping stories before facts are even verified. By dismantling these flawed arguments, Turk has delivered a direct blow to those who sought to use legal mechanisms as a weapon of political influence. The decision also forces journalists, commentators, and political strategists to reassess the credibility of their sources and the biases driving their reporting. And for the public, it serves as a stark reminder that truth often emerges after the noise of propaganda fades, and that narratives built on weak foundations eventually collapse under the weight of evidence. This outcome not only vindicates the defense, but also restores faith in judicial fairness, the resilience of constitutional law. The ruling has struck like a political earthquake, sending shockwaves through every corner of Washington and beyond, leaving opposition leaders in visible disarray as they scrambled to craft a coherent response. What was expected to be a defining blow against a controversial figure has now backfired dramatically, turning into an unexpected legal victory that has altered the political landscape overnight. Inside closed-door meetings, party strategists are reportedly debating how to contain the fallout, with some urging calm and others demanding an aggressive counter-narrative to regain control of the public's perception. The decision has also triggered unease among those who built their campaigns and reputations around the certainty of a conviction, forcing them to reconsider their messaging and alliances. Political commentators describe the current atmosphere as one of confusion mixed with quiet panic, as the opposition struggles to understand how months of preparation and rhetoric have been dismantled in a single judicial decision. The shock is not limited to the political class. Donors, media allies, and foreign observers are all reevaluating their stance, questioning how such a reversal could occur despite relentless effort to frame the case otherwise. Within hours of the verdict, statements from opposition figures appeared hesitant, defensive and lacking the confidence that once fueled their public discourse. The silence speaks volumes, reflecting a growing realization that the balance of political power may be shifting again. The ruling has not only exposed vulnerabilities within the opposition, but also reminded the nation that justice remains unpredictable. The aftermath of the court's ruling has reached far beyond the political stage, rippling through financial markets and sparking intense discussions among investors and economic analysts. Market reactions have been mixed, reflecting both the uncertainty of what this ruling means for the nation's political future and the cautious optimism that judicial independence remains intact. Some investors view the decision as a stabilizing factor, a signal that the legal system can still function without bowing to political pressure, which could ultimately restore confidence in institutions. On the other hand, short-term volatility has emerged as traders and analysts attempt to gauge how this shift will affect policy direction, taxation, and upcoming regulatory moves. Interestingly, several influential figures in the technology and innovation sectors have voiced their support for the court's decision, praising it as a moment of accountability and fairness within a system often criticized for bias. These major tech voices argue that true economic progress depends on transparent and independent governance, where decisions are based on law rather than ideology. Their statements have inspired renewed confidence among business leaders who see stability in the rule of law as the foundation for long-term growth. Financial commentators have noted that this support from high-profile investors may also influence broader market sentiment, encouraging a more balanced outlook. In the coming weeks, the ruling, while judicial in nature, has thus evolved into an economic statement about trust, fairness, and the strength of democratic institutions. Even in turbulent political times, the case has revealed cracks within the very foundation of the nation's justice system, exposing the deep entanglement between legal processes, media influence, and political agendas. For months, the narrative surrounding this case was shaped not solely by the facts presented in court, but by the way those facts were selectively reported, exaggerated, or distorted by powerful media outlets seeking to sway public opinion. The ruling has forced many to confront an uncomfortable truth that the line between justice and politics has become dangerously blurred. Legal experts warn that when courtrooms become arenas for ideological battles, the core principle of impartiality begins to erode. This case has shown how public perception can be manipulated through emotional storytelling and selective coverage, turning complex legal matters into sensationalized entertainment designed to control the masses. The media's role in amplifying one-sided narratives has created an environment where truth competes with propaganda and where perception often outweighs fact. The court's decision, by dismantling these false constructs, has served as a reminder of how easily justice can be overshadowed by influence and bias. It also reignites the debate about transparency and accountability, both within the legal system and among journalists who shape the nation's collective understanding of truth. In exposing these flaws, the case has become much more than a legal victory. It has sparked a moral reckoning about the integrity of institutions, to dangers of allowing information to be weaponized for political or ideological gain. This ruling has injected a surge of uncertainty into the political landscape, forcing campaign strategists from every faction to revisit their plans and recalibrate their messages. What had once seemed like a predictable electoral path has now become a field of shifting possibilities. The decision has revitalized one side's support base, energizing millions who view it as proof that justice can still prevail despite intense political pressure. Conversely, it has left opponents struggling to regain control of the narrative and to reassure their followers that their broader mission remains intact. Inside campaign headquarters, advisors are reevaluating polling data, messaging tones, and voter outreach strategies in light of the sudden surge in public sympathy toward the figure at the center of this legal battle. Political analysts suggest that this ruling could change voter sentiment in key swing regions where perceptions of fairness and integrity often influence turnout more than ideology itself. The renewed focus on judicial independence and government overreach is expected to become a major theme in campaign speeches and debates, shifting attention away from the economic or social issues that once dominated discourse. Meanwhile, digital strategists are scrambling to adapt to the flood of online conversations. Social media platforms light up with renewed activism and division, and this legal victory, while confined to the courtroom, has undeniably spilled over into the political arena, creating a powerful ripple effect that could define the tone, energy, and direction of the upcoming election season. And that brings us to the end of this breaking news analysis. And today's ruling isn't just a legal story. As a defining moment that exposes the power of truth over political manipulation. What we're witnessing is history unfolding before our eyes, a reminder that justice can still rise above influence when the facts are allowed to speak for themselves. As the nation reacts, one thing is certain. This decision will echo through every political discussion, every campaign strategy, and every headline leading up to the next election. If you found this analysis powerful and insightful, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more updates, in-depth reports, and fearless discussions that go beyond the headlines. Don't forget to like, share, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters, and I'd love to know what you think about this ruling and its impact on the future. Stay informed, stay curious, and stay strong, because the truth always deserves to be heard. And I'll see you in the next video.